Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome back to Wobble Enjoy Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Dan, this is your fault. It's you and Terry's fault. And you're the reason why this is happening this weekend, because at the start of the season, you both said that North Queensland were going to be outside of the 8, and that just foretold that we would prove you wrong, but ultimately we would have to come up against the team that has kicked our effing asses for the better part of a decade, pretty much. So you guys talked it into fruition, and it's happening. We'll get into it into a minute. But if you are new, just checking in and looking at the stream, thank you very much for choosing us to listen to. This is Dan from the Rugby League Outlaws, bro. How you doing?
Mate, I'm doing amazing. It's weird that Terry and I would say something dumb and it didn't happen. First time ever, if I guess correctly. No, mate, of course it came to this. It was foretold in the preseason. We knew.
Yep.
We just didn't want to admit it.
Yep. It was as soon as you said it, like legitimately sat back and thought, you know what? If Sharks and Cows do it one more time this year, I won't be surprised. And it's because you blokes spoke it, fair dinkum into fruition, and we're here now. And look, I'm a bit scatterbrained at the moment because can I tell you a story, right? So I worked a night shift on the Friday night, and I finished at 6 a.m. on the Saturday morning. Caught an $890 flight to Townsville at 10:30 in the morning. By the time my head hit the pillow on Saturday night, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I reckon I was awake for over 34 hours straight, and then woke up and then had to catch an 8 p.m. flight on the Sunday. So if you think my voice sounds a bit hoarse, it was even worse yesterday. I'm so tired still, but it was completely worth going up to Townsville to check the game out. I just wanted to put that out there. Just unbelievable weekend it was, man. But that was my weekend. Talk to us about your impressions of week 1 of the finals, man.
2 terrible games, 2 ripper games. I think the gulf between 1, 2, and the rest could not be any further apart, even if we tried. Look, I reckon the Sunday afternoon saved the week, to be totally honest. The Friday night game and ours were just over before they really started. And then you guys and the Newcastle Knights beat the living pop out of each other. And then on Sunday, so too good, too bad. We went to Melbourne not expecting too much. Yet I was still disappointed somehow. So, look, I was glad you guys got through because I wanted to play you because I think, and this is a hot take, the Cowboys and the Sharks are the best modern-day rivals when it comes to the finals. We both whipped each other. We both knocked each other out at big stages. And, of course, we had to meet again. I don't care about Manly and the Roosters. Who cares?
No, listen, I tend to agree. And let's just say we're off by like 1 or 2 slots there. You could maybe talk about Melbourne and Penrith, but we're spread out over the better part of a decade, this modern day finals rivalry. You had Cowboys in Brisbane for 2 years. You had Souths and Roosters for 2 years, basically. So I'm right there with you, man. I do think that this is the best modern day rivalry when it comes to final series. But even so, man, throughout regular season competition, even though you've kicked our asses for the better part of a decade in regular season, there's been some absolutely incredible contests between Sharks and Cowboys that have also gone to Golden Point as well. About Shark Park and Allianz Stadium, what's your opinion?
It was never going to be at Shark Park. That was an absolute waste of time. I don't know who leaked that to the media. I don't know who from the Sharks thought it'd be a good idea to put that out there because everyone knew we were playing at Allianz, right? What Terry suggested, and I agree with, is we should have gone and said, cool, we'll play at Cobra. It meets the criteria, just if you pack them all in. the shithousery to take the Dragons home to a final would have been great. It would be a genuine home game because we won more games than we lost when we played there. It's just down the road. Makes a lot of sense. Of course, the NRL would have said no, but imagine how funny it would have been. It had to be Allianz. When it was announced that it was CommBank, I blew up because those who don't live in Sydney or don't live in this part of Sydney, getting to the city via train takes about 50 minutes, give or take. 45 if you get a quick train. And then you got to go to Parramatta, which is another 30 minutes on an express service. A lot of people work in the city and have to go to Parramatta compared to walking to Allianz, which is at Moore Park, which is 15 minutes away. Buses, trams, trains to Central, and walk from there. This just made the world of sense, and I couldn't believe CommBank was even thrown up. It had to be Allianz Stadium.
I was really surprised CommBank was thrown up like you were too. It would have filled out for sure. But I remember the 2017 semi against the Para Eels, and there were 40,000 people there. So, mind you, that was probably 80% Para fans. But Cowboys did their job to make it 40,000 plus. And the concern from everybody that Allianz will only get 15 to 20,000 people this Friday night, even though there's a game of AFL happening a spit away. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they will get 30,000 people, which will make it half full. I think it is maybe a little bit over half full. I think the official number is like 45,000, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So I think we'll be right, man. But if it went to Shark Park, bro, I would have been gutted because the prices went through the freaking nose last time in 2022, and for families that's just not fair, bro. Like, I get the home ground advantage and the way that Sharks have fought to be in the top four this season, but to then say, now that we've got it, we're going to make you pay $150 for your wife and your two kids, like, I just think that would have been unfair again. And also, like, there's going to be more than just 2,000 Cowboys fans at Allianz Stadium this Friday night as well, bro. So I don't know, man. So you're happy with Allianz, not Shark Park?
Look, I am. If they pick Shark Park, look, Cronulla's argument was that we earned the home ground. You've let us play this home ground all year. Why is it different now? Your point is the exact why they don't play it at Shark Park. I am one of the biggest 3 Sharks fans in the world, right? You can't argue with that. I ride the emotion. The grey hairs are shark-induced. And I'm divorced, and they're shark-induced grey hairs. There's been 2 games at Shark Park in the finals. I haven't been to either of them because I don't want to pay the prices. I can't take the 2 kids, one of which watches because he enjoys it, and my daughter just sits on her iPad. I'm not paying $80 to sit on the hill for her to play an iPad when she can sit at home and I can get angry and yell at the TV. I'm going to Allianz on Friday night. Full disclosure, I walk in Bondi. It's about a 25-minute walk. It's really, really easy. I'm going to meet Terry there. We're going to do our part. Plus, I bagged the club, and I feel like I owe it to them to be there, win, lose, or draw. Well, not draw, win or lose. But yeah, mate, look, they couldn't play at Shark Park. And I'm not going to admit this on Twitter. I'm going to be very much, we should have been at Shark Park. That's just purely for lols. Had to beat Allianz.
Yeah. All righty then. Well, without further ado, let's get stuck into the friggin' meat of the matter then. So this Friday night, kicking off, I think, approximately 7:45, Cronulla Sutherland Sharks versus the North Queensland Cowboys from Allianz Stadium. And the prices on Sportsbet, we've got the Cronulla Sharks sitting at $1.60. The Cowboys sit at $2.34. I think that is very nice, juicy value there for the North Queensland Cowboys side. I'm just going to share my screen in 3, 2, 1 so I can get you to read the team list for me, Dan. So, alrighty, man, I'll get you to take that away when I scroll down, mate. Can you take us through the Sharks lineup, please, bro?
That's right. At fullbacks, Will Kennedy. On the wings is Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Mulatalo. Now, Sifa Talakai has been named in the centres with Kailero. Braden Trindle, Nico Hynes, obviously the halves. Up front, Toby Rudolph and Oregon Kafusi, the props. Blake Brayley is our number 9. Britton Nickera, Teague Wilton, and Cam McInnes are the back row. Dan Atkinson, Jack Williams, Royce Hunt, and Tom Hazelton make up a very big bench. Hamlin Newelly, Huge Tubes, Beryl, Stone Street, and Ramian are on the reserves bench. I would be shocked if we didn't see Ramian make the cut with 24 hours to go, because I believe even Ramian on one leg will play this Friday night. You've heard it here first. That's far from confirmed, so please don't quote that anywhere. It's just a guess.
Yep. Do you drop Daniel Atkinson or Jack Williams? Who would you drop, man?
Well, I don't think Talakai is fully fit, so it might be a straight swap. But I think you got to drop
Ooh.
back and play 4 forwards. You can't carry a player if this happens and this happens. If something happens, you deal with it. You pick your biggest, strongest side because your forward pack a little bit on the old side, but very frightening.
What about Hamanuele, Big Tukes, and even your Stone Street? They're probably three players that you've had a better rap on. Is that fair to say throughout 2024?
Yeah, look, I'd be named Stone Street. I wouldn't have dropped him when Ronaldo came back. The kid was tearing people up for laughs. Hamlin Ueli doesn't have the minutes in his legs. He played for Newtown last week. He was okay. And look, even Huge Tukes, he just hasn't had the minutes at NRL level, which I think is a detriment to his ability. Not a detriment to his ability. It's the Fitzgibbons, what he's done. Thank you, mate. I just look. I would put Tukes on the bench over Royce Hunt. Full disclosure, but
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right. All righty then. We'll just put a pin in that, and I'll go to North Queensland. So Scott Drinkwater, Felton, Taulungi, the back three. Holmes and Vilea are the centres. Dearden, Clifford remain as the halves pairing. McLean, Robson, Taumalolo, the front row. Lukey, Nene, and Cotter. Nene under an injury cloud though, so keep an eye on his spot in the 1 to 17. McIntyre, Edwards, Finafuiaki, and Griffin Neem are the interchange, and the reserves: Purdue, Townsend, McKaylee, Braden Burns, and Tom Chester. And I would happen to think that if Jeremiah Nene does get, it's a late scratching this weekend, I would suggest that Finafuiaki starts in the second row, and then that would probably push Thomas McKaylee into the 1 to 17. Is that probably what you'd be expecting if Nene is injured, Dan?
100%. I rate that Finafuiaki. He's fantastic. And yeah, Michaela looks the obvious one there. There's one player I wouldn't be going to in a final, and it's Chad Townsend. Watch him get named and kick the field goal now just to annoy me.
Maybe. Maybe. All right, we got a question here, Dan. Dan, where's Chris via Aaliyah?
He'll play for Newtown. So with Hamlin Ueli being 18th man, if Cronulla get knocked out, I don't think he can play for Newtown, or he can this week and he can't play the grand final because he hasn't played enough games to represent Newtown outright. But while Cronulla's there, we can play whoever we want for Newtown, which would be a cheat. I believe that's why he was left out. He'll play for Newtown.
Kyle Iro, Dan. Kyle Iro is going to be one-on-one, head-to-head with Viliami Vilea, who did have his ankles broken in one time throughout that elimination final on Saturday. But I think Vilea held his own really well in that game, considering it was his finals debut. And I think Vilea has been reliable without being great in 2024. But Iro versus Vilea, that is one of the key matchups for me in this game this Friday night.
Yeah, big time. No one's going to – everyone knows how I feel about Hero. Look, I think your boy's done admirably. Yeah, on that, he's not one of the 4 or 5 that I've got circled as, we've got to keep him contained. But we've seen players for your lot do that to us in the past. So no disrespect. Look, Kale Hero is a machine. He's 200 metres for laughs, breaking tackles. His defence is really good. My worry is the one outside him in Kyle Felt, because he's towered Ronaldo up. We've beaten you guys by 40 points, and Kyle Felt still played better than Ronaldo on games. So that side, 100%. If Ronaldo comes in, Vilea may have a couple of assists there to your mate or my mate Kyle Felt. I say that half jokingly, but I really like him. But Iro, look, that's one of the perceived advantages we have. Yeah, we got to go there early, and we got to go there often.
I was just about to get to that as well. So it is Vilea and Felt versus Kyle Iro and Mulatalo this weekend. And you took the words right out of my mouth. That Kyle Felt, I believe his best try scoring team is up against the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, man. And Mulatalo and Felt have had some ding-dong battles over the years. I'll tell you what, man, there was that moment in the game maybe 10 weeks ago where Mulatalo just tried to bat the ball over the dead ball line up in Townsville. Do you remember that moment? That was a wild moment, man. But these two players can create like some bizarre, funny moments, bro. So it's going to be...
Kick it?
Yeah, I don't know what he tried. He didn't try to plant the ball down, did he? He just tried to kick it and had an air swing, didn't he?
Yeah, just, mate, I've tried. I've done therapy to get rid of that moment. Thanks for bringing it up.
Oh, dude. We got Ghastly. Ghastly's got your back tonight, man. I want to see Ito destroy Holmes so badly. Well, that's happening on the other side, mate. So you're not going to see
Hey,
that.
look, maybe you
Maybe.
will.
Maybe. And he also says last game, Kyle got a hat trick against Ronaldo, costing us the game. Yes, yes, indeed. So felt he does know how to score against the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. And look, while Ghastly has just brought him up as well, Valentine Holmes going to come up against Talakai and or Ramian this weekend. And Ramian, I don't think he'll get Dally M Centre of the Year or one of the two Dally M awards, but Ramian, he's someone that it's not like it's not that I don't like him. It's just he's a player that I just can't ever seem to get a grasp on. But this season, I can't even deny that he has been easily top 10 and encroaching into that top 5, Dan.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Ramian's a bloke who can give you 200 metres, score 3 tries, and then run up and just push some bloke for no reason and concede the match-winning penalty. He's got a rain snap in him. He's largely put that away this year. And I agree. I have him at number 3 or 4. Crichton and Herbie are my centres of the year, full disclosure. Not that anyone asked. But I think Ramian's, at 4 or 5, 6, so I can be talked into any of those positions. He will be key. I think he'll play. If not, I can tell you where you boys are going all night because Val will be licking his lips seeing Talakai. Now, Talakai in attack, he's going to give you 200 metres. He's going to give you so many post-contact metres. He's an absolute genius. But in defence, Valentine Holmes will be licking his lips. I hope it's Ramian. Please, if you're up there, it needs to be Jesse Ramian.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing too, that I'm scared of that side too. And as much as Valentine Holmes's past 6 weeks have been insanely good, still there's just a few defensive lapses here and there, like Kalen Ponga splitting them on Saturday night. Correct me if I'm wrong, is it Braden Trindle that will be floating down that side of Valentine Holmes? So is Trindle down the right attacking side, or is it Hynes?
No, Trindle's left, Nico's right. They will float, but it will be predominantly Nico.
Right. Well, then even more so with all the pressure that Nico Hynes has been put under the past, 3 weeks, sort of essentially. But especially this weekend, Hynes looking to have a banger. And if he plays his best game and can find Ramian and do his craft and try and put Valentine Holmes under all sorts of pressure, then there's going to be a few line breaks. So I think what you and I are trying to get at here is that edge, our Cowboys attacking left edge, Sharks attacking right edge, that's maybe where the game is going to be won and lost in that game, depending on who's defending, if Talakai is going to be there, and if Holmes can show up defensively or not, Dan.
Yeah, big time. Like there's about 4 or 5 one-on-one battles you can look at. But if we need Ramian. If it's Talakai, Val wins that battle. If it's Ramian, I'm confident. A fully fit Ramian, I'll back over Val. Who knows what he is? If he's standing, he's got to play. That's how I see it. But Holmes is, I'm a huge fan of him. He's a legend in Cronulla. He seems to have been distracted by what was going on with his contract status. As soon as that was settled, he went back to being Valentine Holmes. Now, I know a lot of Cowboys fans were, why we let him go? Look at what happened early in the season, et cetera, et cetera. But that doesn't matter anymore. It's about what's happening now. And Val, yeah, look, you're right. Ponga should have iced that game the other night. Simple as. But the fact is they didn't, and Val got on top in the end. So, that battle, mate. It's 1 of 4 or 5, but yowza.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a key this weekend. What's your opinion, though, Dan? Now we talk about Nico Hynes, now that we've touched on him. What's your reaction to Brandy Alexander saying that he should be dropped this weekend?
Look, putting the ridiculousness of saying he's a confidence player and he needs to find confidence, let's drop him in the biggest game of the career of the season is just downright dumb, because you might as well say to Nico, we go pick fruit, go pack shells. This isn't for you. That's what you would be saying to Nico Hynes. He's our best player. The only chance we've got of beating the Panthers, which is not much to begin with, is Nico Hynes being the best player in the park. I'm a fan of Daniel Atkinson, but him at his best and Nico at his best are worlds apart. Nico's torn the Cowboys up 3 or 4 times, or 2 or 3 times. He was best on ground in the first Paul Green, game. You can't have Nico Hynes fit there and not play him. That would be akin to saying, geez, Ponga's had a few bad games. Let's drop him for Fletcher Sharp, who's playing pretty well. It's just dumb. And I cannot believe anyone, and you should see the Facebook groups are garbage. I wrote something on Zero Tackle that tomorrow's going to drop around 10 a.m. Half of Facebook's going to love me, half's going to hate me. So what else is new? I pretty much said that if you want Nico Hynes left out this week, you are an idiot. You do not understand football and you don't care about the Sharks. You just want, maybe we get past the Cowboys and then we cop 80 to Penrith. Who cares? We need Nico Hynes playing, and leaving him out is just absolutely idiotic. I know Brandy Alexander's watching this show. He's a huge fan. Go to bed.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I agree. I couldn't believe it. Super bold, bro, but he works in the media and whatever. So no, I disagree and completely am with you as well. Going into the forward pack now, the battle of the next generation or the current generation of New South Wales hookers in Blake Brayley versus Reece Robson. Blake Brayley, Dan, and your mate Terry. Terry, especially, I think, over the past couple of years, a lot of daggers, and deservedly so. And I saw what you saw. I completely agreed with what you saw. But my word, Blake Brayley is going to give Harry Grant a bit of a run for Dally M Hooker of the Year, man.
Yeah, look, Grant missed a lot of weeks. There's a good chance Brayley nails it. Terry and I both said it's probably going to come down to Brayley versus Robson, because Robson had a tremendous start to the year. Like he took the spot from Happy Coruscant, says it all. Brayley's been very, very good, and I'm very critical of him. Last year in the final, Nico Hynes screamed for the ball 5-on-3. He goes right, hospital pass to Connor Tracy, who knocks the ball on. I'm not going to forgive that until he plays well in the final. This is his chance, and he's got to look at this and say, look, Jeff Robson is the guy right now. He's the best New South Wales have to offer. And if they're picking an Australian side, I'm picking Grant and Robson. I'm not picking Ben Hunt, not with the lack of form he's been in. So there's a chance for Brayley to go, you know what, if I outpoint Robson, maybe I'm in the Kangaroos. I don't think he is, but he's got to think like that.
Yep.
If he can't get up for this game, then Terry's almost on Blake Brayley Island. Tell you what, he's calling the boat back and getting off. He doesn't have a good game this week. I know last week the forwards got dominated. Brayley had one run. He made 60 tackles and he conceded about 150 post-contact meters. It's not good enough. Reece Robson the other night, when things were quiet and the game was in the balance, took a run and I think he set up the match-winning try. He's the one outside of Drinkwater that I'm most worried about, because he seems to make a living on beating up on Cronulla, no matter what form he goes in. And right now, he's probably the second best hooker in the game.
Toby Rudolph and Oregon Korfusi versus Jordan McLean and Jason Taumalolo. I got to put my hand up and I've got to say that I think that starting front row battle, I think McLean and Taumalolo are a bit better in that instance, but Rudolph does have a tendency to lift up against the North Queensland Cowboys. What do you reckon? Who do you reckon's got the better forward pack?
Yeah, look, I think Taumalolo, I know he doesn't play the minutes that he used to. He was breathtaking the other night against Newcastle. Toby's best games have come against Adam Fanua-Blake because he's taken that one-on-one battle. He's got to look at Taumalolo or McLean, who's, a multiple-time rep player, and say, I have to win this battle. Kaufusi's been pretty good. I flip-flop on him a lot, and it is what it is. But right now I'm on he'll do okay. And if we hold you guys to level when our bench comes on, I feel better about our bench than I do yours.
Yep.
I think your 13 is way better than our 13. That's the biggest middle battle there. And I don't think it's even close. I would take Carter any day over Cam McInnes, who tries hard. But yeah, I would take your starting middle three over our starting three. If we can call it a draw right now, I think that's a bonus to Cronulla, because I think what comes off the bench for Cronulla is a little bit better.
There's another player here too who's also going to be a huge factor when he's going to be coming up against Tom Dearden and Valentine Holmes defensively left edge, and that's going to be Briton Nikora. Now, I don't think he has been as good as what he was last season, but that's not to say he hasn't been good. He's actually been at times very good throughout 2024. Briton Nikora versus Heelan Lukey is the head-to-head matchup, but Briton Nikora scares the absolute tripe out of me. So Heilum Luki, he's been in good form the past 2 weeks, and this might be this is his litmus test. This is his acid test. Heilum Luki up against Britain Nicaragua, Dan.
Yeah, it's a great shout. I love Lukey. I think he's a wonderful talent. I can't believe he hasn't played more for you guys, to be honest. Nicaragua is best back row in the park. And I'm saying that with Nane there or not. I think Nicaragua is the most damaging player in the back line. I think T. Wilton's playing very well, but Nicaragua has been our go-to guy. He can be a bit quiet. Hasn't been so much this year, but he's got a 5 runs for 50 metres game in it. That can't come this weekend. He needs to be leading, and he needs to be a hitman in defence, which worries me a little because he can cross that line. But knowing what they're going to throw at Nico early and often, he has to be a hitman and look after his number 7. And if he wins that battle with Lukey, then obviously Hynes goes, hey, I'm sweet here. Oh, I'm going for a run. And he's gone before you know. So humongous battle. One of many, as we've discussed. This is a bloody good game.
Yeah, it is. And Cameron McInnes versus Ruben Cotter, the battle of the captains, the battle of the locks. They may not win the lock of the year, but that's such an enjoyable battle that to look forward to, man. And then the interchange bench, well, just read again: Atkinson, Williams, Hunt, and Hazelton up against McIntyre, Edwards, Finafuriaki, and Griffin Neame. Can't help but feel that that's relatively even though you just said that you reckon that you've got the better interchange. I look at that and it's mostly propped up by the surprise form. Maybe this is a massive comment to make, but Sam McIntyre might be the best buy of the season in terms of value and what we're getting out of him. What have you made out of Sam McIntyre in 2024, Dan?
Mate, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup last year. I can't even remember where you guys got him from. And now I look and I think, oh, geez, I hope he, has a bit of tummy cramps for the game and gets a bit nervous and doesn't lift. You've been very good, mate. I just think you're going to see Rami in, and I think you see Talakai to the bench, which gives Cronulla the edge. The bench as it sits, it's right down the middle. I think Sifa has to go back to get that little bit of advantage. So I don't think you guys have a Talakai. But Finafuriaki's playing pretty good football. So maybe
Dude, we're going to miss Finafuriaki so friggin' much next season. The way he only played like 10 to 15 minutes the other night, but when he came on, you knew that he was there. Like you knew when he came on. So yeah, I'm anticipating it. Look, if Tom Trbojevic can play with the AC joint that he's got going on at the moment, Jesse Ramian surely can be needled up and come out and play. So I'm fully prepared, and I think the Cowboys would be fully prepared to take on Jesse Ramian and maybe a Hamlin Uele or Talakai switch up with maybe a Jack Williams but then again, like I know Jack Williams can be Jekyll and Hyde. He's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde player, but fuck me, man. When Jack Williams is on, bro, he is a game changer.
Yeah, he's won games for us all year. People I know why they do, because his drop cost us the game against the Warriors, and he had a costly drop the other night. So when he drops the ball, we don't back him up. And because if you drop the ball and they make a tackle and 3 plays later you got the ball, no one remembers. But if you drop the ball and they score, like because Will Kennedy off the kickoff the other night, if we defended that set, who cares? Kennedy dropped the ball because we conceded. So yeah, he does have a bit of that. But there's been games this year, I remember the Bulldogs, where they were all over us down Cronulla. Williams came on, changed the game, was the best player on the field. He's done that 3 or 4 times. So yeah, there's a good chance he can come on and turn the game, whether it's good or bad. It's more good than bad, but that's not to say he doesn't have a bad one in him.
And listen, the other thing that I want to mention too as well is Jake Clifford. This would be the first time that he's played against Cronulla in a very long time. And we saw William Kennedy's nerves on display last weekend. Now, we have had Chad Townsend kicking to William Kennedy for the better part of 3 seasons now. And the kicking game from Chad isn't as dangerous and doesn't offer what Jake Clifford can do. So Clifford, even though he missed 9 tackles on Saturday night, that needs to be rectified immediately because he's going up against Braden Trindle mostly on Friday night. If Clifford can put up those spiral bombs, and I think he'll be able to put at least 1 or 2 up, that's going to be a huge bonus for us that hasn't been there in the past. Jake Clifford putting up his big spiral bombs coming down for William Kennedy. But are you not to say on last legs, but is William Kennedy sort of, are you on shaky ground with William Kennedy at the moment, or you're still wanting to trust him into 2025?
Look, right now, Kennedy's our best option at fullback, but I think with a full preseason, there's 3 or 4 players I'd rather see there in round 1, to be honest. Now, maybe he hears this and comes out and has the game of his life this week. The one thing I love about Kennedy is he's probably top 2 in the comp under the high ball. So you can guarantee he's going to have 4 drops this week. But his positional play, it's okay. He doesn't back up. Scott Drinkwater's a far superior fullback in almost everywhere. Kennedy doesn't kick. Kennedy has, I think, 11 tries or 8 tries and 11 try assists, something. I think Scott Drinkwater's got like 20 and 20. He just doesn't. And I like Kennedy. Personally, I like Kennedy. He's been lovely to us. He did an interview on the show. He signed the kids' hats. He had a chat. He's just the loveliest guy. He started the season really, really well, but it's professional football. And you give me Kailero with 12 weeks or 14, 20 weeks even under at fullback, that bloke's going to run for 300 metres every game and be a superstar in no time. So definitely shaky ground. He's our best option this weekend. I like Jay Clifford a lot. I called for him to come in to this team a long time ago. Now, look, I don't particularly like Chad Townsend as a footballer. Again, lovely guy. I don't think Chad's very good. Hasn't been for a couple of years. When you bought him, I danced. He played like 3 good games for you guys. Yay. He's going on the Roosters. Roosters fans hate me because I danced. That says it all. For you guys to pick Clifford, obviously he's there next year is a great thing. And yeah, his kicks worry me a lot more than Chad. This is a terrible thing, but Terry, and I don't know whether I should say this or not, Chad Townsend wouldn't fight Madeline McCann with a bomb. Every fullback, he will find the chest. Will Kennedy's chest would be sore from catching Chad bombs all night. He cannot find space. Clifford scares me because he can put that kick up that just goes up in the air. And you know how Allianz is. If there's a little breeze, it can go anywhere and everywhere.
That's true.
So, yeah, shaky ground to answer your question, mate. I think there's a few better options coming through, but this weekend in Kennedy, we trust.
Dan, is this the most important game in Cronulla's history since the 2016 grand final?
Second most. 2017, we beat the Cowboys in that first week, which screw you, by the way. I think we go to the grand final because everyone fell over themselves. This, though, is important for Fitzgibbon because if we lose, straight set Sharks will be trending again, and people love to make that joke. And you know what I've got to offer in defense of that? Nothing. We haven't won a finals game despite having 4 games at home. I know 2 of them at Allianz. We should have beaten you guys a couple of years ago. We had you on dead to rights, and Tom Dearden just lit us up. We had the Roosters dead to rights last year times 2, and we messed it up and lost it from God knows where. People are going to be coming for Nico. They're going to be coming for Fitzgibbon. They're going to be coming for Kennedy, etc. And my argument will be, yeah, you're right. This game will decide our season. A win, I don't care what happens against Penrith. They'll flog us. I don't care. But a loss, season waste of time.
Alrighty, well, in saying that, at $2.30, go Cowboys. I believe that they can go down and do it, whether or not they're walking, whether or not they're driving down, or whether or not they're flying down. And I think it was confirmed about an hour ago that they did get that charter flight in any event. That was a storm in a teacup, by the way. And there's a lot of people, by the way, that started bad-mouthing them real badly. So just be careful about the energy that you put out there, because if they end up going down to Allianz and winning, that's a lot of karma coming back on those people that really shit-canned the North Queensland Cowboys earlier this afternoon. Actually, just before I mention this, just before I go any further, Ghastly just reminded me, actually Klein to referee the game. Can I just quickly say, I'm sorry, I don't usually actually talk about referees, but I think Ashley Klein had a shocker on Friday night at Penrith Park, bro. Are you now immediately like just a percentage more nervous that Klein is the referee in this game, considering the already controversial history that you and I have got in finals history?
Yeah, I don't. Look, I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit here because I think Klein is a good referee. I think he overplays his hand when it's not needed, and he was awful on Friday night. He was awful. Yep. Adam G should be refereeing this game. This is the game of the round. It should be the best referee. It should be Adam G. I don't even know if he got the other one. Look, Coyne, no matter what people say, he's not a cheat. He doesn't favour sides. He doesn't make it about himself. Sometimes, look, he's got an error in him. So, yeah, it does worry me that this game will be run on a refereeing decision. You got to be good enough to overcome that. I'm not worried that he's going to favour you. You should be worried that he's going to favour us. But there's going to be a moment where both teams have used their challenges and we're all going to hold our breath because that's just the Ashley Klein way. I hope he referees it like an Origin game. So I think his Origin games are the best 3 games a year he referees, where he puts the whistle away and lets the players get on with it. When he goes in and starts, if you start hearing 6 again in the first 5 minutes, just turn off because he's decided that it's going to be about him. So 100%. How Adam G, and sorry to go on a rant, but I'm gonna, isn't in the top 4 referees. He's the top referee. I don't want to go into why he hasn't been picked, but I have my feelings, and I am 99% sure we won't see Graham Annesley or Jared Maxwell next year. So this is their final mistake, and they've made plenty.
Yeah, it's stunning that Adam G didn't get a shout out last weekend, for sure. But yes, I generally think that the Cowboys can go down there and get the dub. This is going to be, it should be another thriller. There is a piece of me that is thinking if the Sharks that played the Gold Coast Titans at Seabar Super Stadium show up, we're in for a world of hurt, bro, because yeah, there were times last weekend against Newcastle where we just allowed way too many running meters from Newcastle, way too many running meters. So if Sharks find versus Titans form, we're in a world of trouble. But our record down in Sydney as well, I'm on the year out for people that's saying that we can't win in Sydney, considering our record is 5-2 or 6-2 if you include our trip down to Canberra. So Sydney, it's been awesome to see the boys rectify that and win in Sydney a lot more, or New South Wales a lot more this year. So I am going to go the North Queensland Cowboys, but I'm going to say if the Cowboys win, it's going to be close. If the Sharks win, I feel like it might be a 13 plus points victory 2 years. That's how I'm feeling going into this game.
Yeah, I think 230 is juicy for the Cowboys. I'm going to tip the Sharks, obviously. I think both teams played at their best. I think Cronulla just that little bit above. But I think Nico's the best player in the game on this game. I think Scott Drinkwater might be number 2, and I think Tom Dearden might be number 3. So you got the advantage in that. I reckon the next 5 are Sharks. So, mate, it depends. If you guys hold the ball, you hold the ball, wait for Cronulla to beat yourself. That's your best way to attack this game. That's how we've lost the last 3 weeks. We were really close to Melbourne until we couldn't hold the ball and they killed us. That's not a coincidence. So, yeah, look, anyone that's saying that Cronulla are going to walk, I can see why, because everyone sees things that others can't. There's a part of me that sees you guys coming out and leading 18-0 and Cronulla just throw their hands up and say, oh, well, Fanil Blake's coming in a couple of weeks. Let's focus on that. So, look, whoever's leading at 20 minutes, or if there's ever a 2-try margin, someone leads 12 points or more, I think it's game over.
Oh, true. Okay, then. All righty then. Well, Dan's going for Sharkies. I'm going for Cowboys. Let's get into the next game, shall we? And the next game is at Allianz Stadium once more. It is Easts versus the Manly Warringah Seagulls, and the prices on Sportsbet is exactly the same, $1.60 to the eastern suburbs, whereas Manly, they sit at the $2.34 mark. And Dan, I'll get you to read out our team list here in 3, 2, 1. I'll get you to read out our Eastern Suburbs team list, if you may, please, good sir.
Absolutely. So at fullback, James Tedesco. On the wings, Daniel Tupou and Dominic Young. Jeez, that's good wings. Joseph Suaalii and Joseph Manu in the centres. Luke Keary. Sandon Smith at 7. I'm a little bit shocked about that. Jared Warrior-Hargraves is back with Lindsay Collins up front. Connor Watson, Angus Crichton, Satili Tupanua, and Nefaro White. God, it's a good side. You got Wong, Linu, Butcher, and May, which may be the biggest and scariest bench in the competition. I don't think you'll see any changes. Although there is one name there, Sam. Victor Radley, who sticks right out. If he comes in late, I have a feeling that Nat Butcher might make weight, and they're going to go right up the middle. Damn good side. I hate them.
Manly Seagulls, Tom Trbojevic, Talau, and Lehigh Hopewadi, the back 3. Lehigh Hopewadi, gee whiz, hasn't he hit the ground running? Kohler and Garrick, the centres. Brooks and DCE. Great to see Brooks get his first finals victory last weekend. Paseka, Croker, and Lodge, the front row. Olakau'atu, Lawton, and Jake Trbojevic, the back row, and the interchange reads Ben Trbojevic, Josh Aloiai, Ethan Bullymore, and Nathan Brown. And honestly, I don't foresee any of the reserves making a play to nab a spot in the 1-17 in the lead up to the game. For the Sydney Roosters, man, I have found them incredibly frustrating and somewhat fraudulent at times throughout 2024. But I got to say, man, that while they did not have a good start, and that's what cost them, I got to give the devil their due and say that they did really well actually in that second half, and they did cop a few bad calls from Klein. And I think there's a lot to really mull over for the Roosters and Manly fans leading up to it, because I think the Roosters, they did win that second half 10 points to 6 or thereabouts. I think there's a lot to take out of that game for the Sydney Roosters, Dan.
Yeah, big time. The Roosters can put 50 on anyone at any given time. Their defense is very shaky, and that's why I believe you call it fraudulent. Because they went up squad, I think, 34 points against Cronulla and lost in Magic Round or something like that. I don't know, so long ago now. They can do that. They can put 30 on a team and ship 36. And Manly have a lot of points in them too. I say I hate him jokingly. I respect him because they lost Brandon Smith. They call up Connor Watson. Like, they lose Victor Radley. Nefaro White comes up. You got Terrell May, Spencer Lynn who can step up for where goes. Spare me your tears. If things go wrong, they're going to chuck bloody Joseph Manu, who's the next Avenger, in at 6 and shift Kiri to 7 if Sandon Smith doesn't, play well. And I think he will. He's a great talent. So, yeah, no tears from me, mate. This game is exceptional. And I hope I hope Cronulla win on Friday. And I can watch this game. Now, I don't think these teams are worried the Storm after what I saw the last few weeks. But if you were to tell me that Manly win this game and go and beat the Storm, I'm not calling you too crazy. Same with the Roosters.
That's interesting. And I think at 2.30, the value on Manly is very juicy as well. One of the toughest games I think I've seen Manly play since maybe the start of the season. I think they did defeat Melbourne, and that was a really tough, impressive contest. But since then, they've sort of been in and out of games. But yeah, really impressive fight back from Manly in a cracking contest, arguably the game of the year this past Sunday. As far as the forward pack matchups, look, bro, Jared Hargreaves is like the Tom Trbojevic for the Roosters. Like, there is a noticeable difference every time that he's been away and come back. Like, the Roosters just get tenfold energy from it. I'm still not convinced about the Manly Seagulls. However, like they themselves are consistently inconsistent in 2024. I think that's fair, Dan.
Hugely so. Mate, I was actually going to tip Manly until I saw that bench that the Roosters have got. That is frightening. That is so scary when you think that Victor Radley might come into that. Like, are you kidding me? Look at that bench. Like, Carl Lawton's okay, but he doesn't make the Roosters. Outside Olakau'atu, none of those forwards make the Roosters pack. That's why I think it'll be one. And you're right about Maria Hargreaves. He comes in. Now, he may sit down for 30 minutes, 3 sin bins. You just don't know with this guy. But him being there gives them belief. Yep. You're right. He is their Tommy Turbo, different type of player, obviously, but geez, he fills a void.
I hope I'm right in saying this too, but I think we've got Angus Crichton and Haumole Olakau'atu as a head-to-head battle this weekend as well. So I don't think I've got Olakau'atu as a second rower or Dally M second rower for 2024, but he's going to go close, and that's going to be an awesome head-to-head matchup to watch. And Paseka, he's someone that I still don't think. What do you think? I don't think Paseka has quite still yet broken out. I'm still. He's definitely had a couple of great, and like I'm talking great games in 2024, but I'm still waiting for him to break out. And if he can contain to the best of his abilities Jared Hargreaves on Saturday night, man, it'll be huge for his confidence. And 2025 could be, and this is talking maybe way too early and way out of pocket, but if Paseka can do something about JWH this Saturday night, sets up his 2025 with a hell of a lot of confidence.
Certainly does. In the preseason, I had Paseka and Sipley as the breakout forwards. I thought they were going to be the new Bash brothers. Sipley's, they've had a lot of injuries. I'll
Yep.
do that. But look, when Paseka was off contract, I wanted Cronulla to throw their farm at him. Now, it still sucks we missed him because he's a big dude. But yeah, I agree. He could come out and be the best forward on the park, or you might go, is Paseka on yet? Oh, he's been on for 20 minutes. I don't want to bag him because he's a giant bloke, and if he finds me, I'm no hope. But use this, Taniela. Use this to go out and bash them this week. He can be a difference. I'm backing the Roosters, boys.
Yeah. You do just have to back JWH in this instance, but the backline battles as well. So we're going to have Lehigh Hopper. I'm pretty sure about this. We're going to have Lehigh Hopewadi going up against Daniel Tupou, the rookie versus the veteran in that instance. And I'm not sure if Hopewadi has played the Roosters, but he might have played the Roosters and had a good hand in things. But Hopewadi versus Tupou on one edge. You got Dominic Young versus Tommy Talau on the other. I think Tommy Talau could contain Dominic Young quite well as well. And then Ruben Garrick is going to be going up against Joseph Suoliti and Kohler versus Manu. It's going to be Garrick versus Manu. So I think Manu, in what might be his last ever game for the Roosters, I thought he was bitterly disappointing last weekend. Joey Manu, I've got a very controversial stance on Joseph Manu as well, Dan, that he only ever comes out when a certain moon is out. And that's once every bloody 10 weeks or so, mate. I'll give the devil his due. He was great in 2022. And even in 2023, he had his moments. But I think this year is back to formula with Joey Manu, but this might be his last ever game in Roosters colours, and he should provide a blockbuster. What are your thoughts on Joey Manu going into this game, man?
I'm a huge fan of Manu. I don't disagree. There are weeks where you're like, cool, give it to Manu, he'll do something. And you're looking at your watch, where's Manu? What's he done? And then you can look at him and he's run for 300 metres and scored 4 tries. He's Jekyll and Hyde. Not that he's ever bad, but you expect more for a player of his quality. I got to say, looking at those wing combinations, look, I think the biggest gulf between these sides is Sandon Smith and Daly Cherry Evans, and that's not a shot at the youngster. It's just what it is.
Yes. Yep.
If Kiri and Sandon Smith can kick high and accurately, those blokes are going to need step ladders to get over to the Roosters, and I think that's where Manu comes in. Those backbacks, Manu one-on-one scores every time. So I'm not willing to say he's going to make you eat your words, but you might want some sauce just in case.
Yes, absolutely. Man, I can't pick this game, eh? This is a really tough game to tip. I look at the back line and easily give it to the Roosters. And then I look at the forward pack, and while it does look great, especially with JWH there, we talked about defense before, and the Roosters can shit 30 points after they've scored 34 themselves. And I think that was the scoreline last time these two sides met. But that forward pack, if they can show up again, with the Jake Trbojevic style of defense, if they can be really committed defensively, that's where I think they might be able to get them and frustrate the Roosters. But if Victor Radley comes back into that side, it does add a different dimension to them. I've got to ask you first because I've got to wait for a couple more seconds so I can think about it. But who are you tipping in this game?
I'll go the Roosters. Full disclosure, I was going to tip Manly, but just that bench is just the gulf there is massive. Look, it may come down to Teddy versus Turbo, mate. And one of them's fully fit and probably going to win the Dally M, and the other was carrying his shoulder for 79 minutes at the 80 the other day. So,
do you think Tedesco? I think Tedesco's going to pip Jerome Hughes, mate, because Hughes got rested in the second last round of the season. I think Tedesco's going to come up and win it, mate.
Yeah, look, our Zero Tackle Award, which is far more prestigious than the Dally M, let's be honest. Tedesco got him. Tedesco got him by one game. And I did the sums real quick, and I gave points compared to what I gave on Zero Tackle. I put him in the different system with Dally M, and I had Tedesco winning by a game. So, yeah, I think it should be Hughes. I still maintain it should be the MVP style of the eye test. So it's Jerome Hughes. It's going to be Tedesco, mate. But if Turbo plays the full season, maybe he gets it. So I think the game can be won there. If one of them's kept quiet, it's game over for their side because they're the difference. God, this is such a good round of football, mate.
It's going to be so good. I got to tip the Sydney Roosters as well because I do think about Jared Hargreaves' impact. It should be too good, Ben. It would be amazing if Manly do it, but I've got to go the Sydney Roosters in this game. It was interesting, man. It sounds like you were close to Manly, and yeah, you did tip them earlier on, but yeah, looking at Roosters, they should be too good. It is at Allianz. That's that. Alrighty then. So therefore, if we're correct, so it's going to be Panthers, Sharks, Panthers, Cowboys. But I think you and I have just predicted a Melbourne versus Roosters preliminary final in week number 3. But whilst that's an awesome game to look forward to, that Roosters Manly game, I do think that our contest on Friday night is the game to look forward to, man, because that could be. It could genuinely be 25 points to 24 sort of a scoreline. Could be a 90-minute thriller like it has been 2-3 times like it has been in the past. So looking forward to Friday night. Can't get there, but I'll be cheering on in spirit. Dan's going to be there. So if you're watching this now and you're wondering if Dan's going to be there, please go out and find him on Friday night and try and say good day to him. But Dan, thank you so much for your time again. We finally did a Wobble and Draw Sports collaboration. I'm really grateful for your time tonight, man. Is there anything coming up, or is there a podcast that, like Fins Up podcast, is there another one coming up before kickoff this Friday night?
Yeah, there is. I'm actually, Terry's waiting on the other, which no rush, of course. We're going to do a knock-on podcast, which is on Zero Tackle, and then the Fins Up podcast will drop straight after, around 9:30 maybe. Just check. Just everyone at Southern Dan, just follow me. That's all where the good stuff happens. And then maybe something later in the week. There will be a reactionary because Terry and I are going, and if the car ride home isn't too hectic, we'll be recording something then. That's always could go either way. There is a language warning on that one. We're not as professional as we are here on this very show. But no, mate, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I love it. I hope. I know your girls can't make the finals, so we can't do that podcast. We'll do something soon. I don't know. Just bring.
Yeah, we got the Pacific Championships coming up as well. We will do something very, very soon for sure. But seriously, best of luck on Friday night. Hoping it is not as controversial as some of the Parks games have been between us, but all in good fun. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. It's been a really nice, consistent flow of people tuning in. Thank you. And quick shout out to Terry as well. I know that he couldn't be here, but I still support him and still am a massive fan of Terry as well. And the Rugby League Outlaws. If you are not subscribed to the Rugby League Outlaws, please find their name in the title of the description. Hit that link. It is a hyperlink and it'll take you to their YouTube channel. So thank you very much again, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you, take care, and adios.